Janelle.
I'm Marissa.
We're Anime
And today we have a special episode for you. But before we begin, I want to go ahead and go over our book bundles. We do have a curated book bundle for you to check out. It'll include manga and anime that we talk about today, as well as a couple of other ones that we may touch on briefly in our episode. So be sure to check these out at the Atascocita Branch Library with your library card.
Yes. And this episode is called Pride because we would like to celebrate Pride Month with our community, our very diverse community.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah.
Oh, and we also have a craft with our program for today. So it would have come out on June 18th, and you could pick that up still if we still have any left. The craft is a origami bookmark that you can make, and it also includes a instructional video for you, so you can also check that out if you haven't already after this episode.
Yes.
All right. With that said, we're gonna go ahead and just jump right into our topic of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, first anime that I kind of want to go over is Auron High School Host Club. So this anime is a little bit older. It did air in 2002 and it ran to 2010, and that's the manga. It aired in 2006. So Auron High School Host Club was made by Bisco Hattori, and basically it's a shoujo slash like rom-com kind of series.
Mm-hmm.
The main character is named Haruhi Fujioka, and she is a scholarship student at the prestigious Auron Academy. It's like a really fancy academy. Everyone wears like dresses and I guess like really nice suits there. Looking for a quiet place to study, Haruhi stumbles upon a uh, third music room, which encountering there she encounters 6 male students that are part of the Auron Academy Host Club, a special club that entertains students with sweets and tea.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a really. If I were going to Auron, I would want to go to this club.
Yeah.
Haruhi accidentally breaks 8 million yen vase and now has to work for the club to pay off her debts, disguising as a guy, all the while making friends with the club members.
Wow.
So, yeah. um, Initially, when like researching for this anime, I was not going to bring it up because I didn't actually think think about it. Like, you had told me you were like, oh, because it's one of my favorite anime, by the way. But she's like, oh, won't you bring up Auron Host Club, Auron High School Host Club? And I'm like, I didn't think it had any, like LGBTQ representation in that. And I'm like trying to remember and think about it because it's been a while since I've seen it. And then I'm like, wait, it does.
I remember, I don't know if it's someone that told me or I read it, that one of the dads is bi.
Yes.
And cross dresses?
Yeah, cross dresses. Yeah. He did on the show mention that he is bisexual, and I believe he says it in the manga too. But he also cross dresses as just like his hobby. He also makes money off of it too, but it's just one of the things he likes to do.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I love Auron is because the way the show represents that makes it so normal. Like it's not even part of the show, right? Like the whole main topic is about Haruhi, which is also a whole nother thing. So Haruhi is a girl. But the way she identifies herself is like um it's very like she doesn't say that that's what she is, right? So in the beginning, the very, very beginning, the first episode, she comes into the third music room, and all of the male students there think that she's just another guy because she's dressed in just some clothes that are kind of baggy, and she has really short hair and glasses, and they don't frame anything the way a girl would look in that anime. So she comes in, they all mistake her for a guy.
Yeah.
And she doesn't correct him or anything. She just rolls with it. And slowly but surely throughout that first episode, each member finally finds out. I think by like looking at her up close, they figure out that she's not a guy. But anyway, they kind of ask her. She breaks the vase, and they're like, "Hey, now you have to pay off your debts." So she's like, "Okay, I'll work for the host club." And the host club is basically these 6 club members who entertain they're clients or like other students at the academy,
Is
and
it?
they're
Sorry, is it
yeah,
mostly
it's mostly
girls?
yeah,
Oh,
mostly girls. I
okay.
think they have one boy. He's like a client, but he's only coming because another girl's there.
Oh.
Um, so it's mostly girls, and they're just there to kind of like charm them and make sure that they're comfortable and talk with them and chat with them. It's basically like a social club for, I think in the anime they say really elegant students, really, really elegant boys. It's really funny. I love the dub for this show. The dub is great. But anyway, so she agrees to just work for this host club. She agrees to wear the uniform, which is like a guy uniform, and it takes the main character Tamaki so incredibly long to figure out that she's a girl. But either way, he doesn't care. Like
Yeah.
the way the show just represents that is awesome. And then in another case, Tamaki and his friend Kiyoya, who is also the vice president of the club, he refers to himself. Tamaki refers to himself as mommy, and then he refers Kiyoya as daddy. And they're the mommy and daddy of the club, which is really fun.
Cute.
Yeah, and then their children are Haruhi and the rest of the club members. And what I also love about it is that because Haruhi's dad is bisexual, he, they it's assumed that he raises her up to just be accepting of it, and she's totally comfortable with it. And I think that fuels part of why she is the way she is. And I'm gonna go into spoilers territory about the show, so um, it's not too much of a spoiler. But Haruhi does have her like first kiss, but it's not with a guy; it's with a girl, in a totally accidental way. And she is absolutely okay with it. She's like, "Oh, that was my first kiss. It was just one of those things where she's like, oh, okay, yeah." And of course, Tamaki is super upset, but only because he has a major crush on her and he has no idea about it. Like he's so oblivious in this show about it. But anyway, that's my pick. I love this anime. We do have the manga as well. I've read the entire manga, so you can check it out at the library. We have it in our catalog, our collection, as well as Overdrive. We have all of the volumes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw a lot of the
Yeah.
volumes there.
So you can also check it out on Overdrive with your library card.
Right, next up is Given. The manga was written by Matsuki Kisu, and it started in 2013 and it's still ongoing. And unfortunately, we don't have the manga. The catalog did say that we will be getting it soon. Well, the first volume at least. So for now, you can interlibrary loan it. And the anime, I actually watched the anime first and then read the manga because the anime is so good, at least to me.
Yeah.
It came out July 2019, and the first season ended September 2019. And you can watch it on Crunchyroll. It's only 11 episodes, so it's pretty short.
It's a shorty.
Yes.
A one core for my professional anime watchers.
Yes. And there's a movie. It's just called Given the Movie. I kind of wish there was more
a title.
Yeah, more creative title to that, but it's okay. It is part of the story because it's like a shorter arc of the entire manga series. So the first arc, well, let me backtrack. So we'll talk about what Given is about first. So the story follows 4 students in an amateur band. The series is divided into 2 major story arcs. The first one is the relationship between Mitsuka and Mafuyu, and the second one focuses on the relationship between Akihiko and Haruki.
They have such beautiful names.
They do, and I'll get into why.
Okay.
So the band before Mafuyu joined, they were called the Seasons because all of their names, including Mafuyu, relates to a season. And I was about to say a season in Japan, but we all have seasons, right? So Ritsuka's name it means summer. I'm not going to go into detail of like their kanji because that's very complicated, and you have to look at the characters for that. Mafuyu is winter. Haruki is spring, and Akihiko is autumn.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's like this prefix of their name. So
Yeah.
like Haru, spring,
Hmm.
Aki is autumn.
Yeah.
What was winter?
Oh, winter. So actually, it's Fuyu is winter.
Fuyu is winter.
So yeah, not
Haru
really
is
the
spring.
not really the suffix.
Okay.
Yeah. um, and then Ritsuka, that one was more complicated to um translate, I guess. At least for
Okay.
me. I'm sorry. I didn't understand it much because I don't know Japanese.
Yeah.
But anyway, um, it's a music anime, and it's really good. The like you can hear them, you can listen to the music on Spotify too. Like you can look up Given
Oh,
on
I didn't know
Spotify,
that.
and the music's on there. Yeah,
Okay.
and so the first arc, it was it was really what's the word? It was pretty deep because um there's the relationship with Mafuyu and his ex-boyfriend, and as the show progresses, you understand like why Mafuyu is like so heartbroken. Um, well, the show starts with um, Kitsuka and Mafuyu. They're both in high school. The other two are in college. Um, and Mafuyu carries around a guitar, and he doesn't really play guitar. So I think, if I remember correctly, Ritsuka approaches him. He's like, "Oh, you don't know how to play it," or he's like, "Oh, you have a Gibson, but you don't know how to play it." And Mafuyu was like, "Oh, can you teach me?" And Ritsuko is really reluctant at first, but he ends up teaching him how to play. And then one day Mafuyu starts singing. He's like, because he said, "I have this tune in my head," and he starts singing the tune.
Yeah.
And Ritsuko's like, "Oh my god!" So then he invites him to the band.
Oh.
So he becomes the singer of the band, and they um, they decide to do a live performance. Um, but they don't have the lyrics yet because Mafuyu keeps not. I guess he puts it off, but not because he doesn't want to do it, but because like it's hard for him to um, express his feelings.
Yeah.
And once on stage, for their live show, like even without the lyrics, like they don't know anything about the lyrics. Mafuyu starts singing this powerful emotional song, and it's oh, gives me chills. It's a really sad song about like his ex-boyfriend because his boyfriend died from suicide, and yes, it's really heartbreaking. And Mafuyu, oh, he just did it so well. Like
Is it on
he's
Spotify? Their entire thing? Their entire playlist, I guess?
yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah. So they
I'll have to check
have
it out.
yeah, they have songs from uh season one
Yeah.
and from the movie too.
Okay.
Because in the movie, I'll go into the second arc now. It's more about what are their names? Akihiko and Haruki.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Haruki has always been in love with Akihiko,
Oh.
but Akihiko he is more like he's kind of stuck with his ex-boyfriend, like an on and off relationship, and he also lives in his basement. So
Oh.
it's like really complicated and it hurts Haruki, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, after some complications and all that, Akihiko like realizes like his life isn't going the way he wants it to go. So he breaks things off with his ex and moves out, finds his own place, and focuses his study on music. Because Akihiko is actually a really talented musician. He can play like different instruments.
Wow.
So he's a drummer. Oh, Haruki's the bassist. Mafuyu, the singer, and the lead guitarist is Ritsuki. So did I say his name right? Ritsuka. Sorry.
Mitsuka.
Sorry.
I like that story though. That's well, I don't like it. That's a terrible situation to be in, but
Yeah.
it's almost like or are they're friends too, right?
Yeah, they're all
Like
friends.
oh that's tough.
It
Yeah.
is tough, but
Oh.
it's a very lovely show. I love it. So, I would recommend maybe. 15 up to watch.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it has some mature content.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yes. Or maybe 16 up. So yeah.
Okay.
That's given.
Okay, up next is an anime that I want to talk about. It is Princess Jellyfish or Kurage Hime. Not Karage.
Karage is fried chicken.
Fried chicken. But I'm assuming Kurage is just like jellyfish in Japanese. If you know that, if you if that's not correct, please correct me. Anyway, the manga was created by Akiko Higashimura, and it came out in 2008 and ran to 2017. So it is kind of a longer manga series. It did run for a while. The They did come out with a short anime series, so that has about 11 or 12 episodes, and that one came out in 2010, and you can find that on Funimation. I could not find that anywhere else, so if you do some digging, you might be able to find where somewhere else to watch it. But Funimation was a quick direct link.
Does it only cover a certain arc in the manga?
Yes.
Okay.
So the anime series kind of goes over like, the first 1 to like 8 volumes of the manga. So you are gonna want to pick up after that if you really like it. If you don't, then that's your prerogative. But um anyway, it centers around a 19-year-old girl named Tsukimi Kurashita. She wants to become an illustrator, so she does live with 5 other women in a house. Um, Along with those 5 other women, they call themselves the Amami Ziken group, or the nuns, because they don't have boyfriends or they're not in a relationship, and they also harbor really niche hobbies that others may find weird. So they tend to stay to themselves and just stay in this house and live in there. One day she runs across this pet store, and Tsukimi is really obsessed with jellyfish. So she absolutely loves jellyfish.
That's her niche?
That's her niche, yeah.
Okay.
Her late mom took her to an aquarium when she was younger, and Tsukimi saw this jellyfish with like glowing tentacles that represented a really white dress, and she's been obsessed ever since. And I kind of feel her obsession because I love jellies or
Yeah.
jellyfish. I call them jellies. But anyway, she sees this pet store, and this pet store has a jellyfish in their tank. But the pet store has 2 of them, so it has a spotted jelly and a moon jelly in the same tank. And she's like, no, they can't have that because the spotted jelly can't be in the same tank as the moon jelly, which is why she has this obsession. She knows so much about jellyfish. She's like, I have to tell the pet store owner that he needs to take them out and separate them, or they're gonna die. The spotted jellyfish is gonna weaken and die. So she's like really trying hard to like save up like extroverted energy so she can go and ask this guy, because she's like,
I feel that.
yeah, she's like introverted. She's like, I can't ask him.
Yeah.
But eventually she does it for the sake of the jellyfish, and she's like shaking, and she tells him, I need you to remove these jellyfish. But of course he thinks that she's just like a weirdo, and it's middle of the night, and the pet store is closed, so he's like, I can't help you. She bumps into Kuranosuke Koibuchi, which he is a really wealthy male college student, but she doesn't know that he's a guy just yet. He dresses up as like a woman or whatever, but she meets him at the pet store. I think she like gets so surprised she like collapses and rolls like, oh, the anime is funny too, but she like rolls down the hill and she like stops at his feet. And he's like, oh, how can I help you? And so he basically helps her take the jellyfish home, and then they become friends. So throughout the entire series, Kuranosuke really helps Tsukimi come out of her shell. He also helps the other 5 women that are living there also come out of their shell, because of course they're all really introverted, and they haven't had too many good experiences where they've shared their hobbies and interests, and people reciprocated with enthusiasm. So I really love this anime for that. I think it's just such a great anime to get inspiration off of outfits too, because of the way they dress is awesome. Like Tsukimi is an illustrator, so of course Kuranosuke then like asked for her help in developing some fashion outfits. So they have this whole arc in the manga where there's a fashion runway, and she gets to develop some like jellyfish dresses and outfits. And
Oh,
it's really,
wow.
yeah, it's so cool, and I
I
love
love
seeing
it.
the outfits. That's probably one of my favorite parts of the anime. But it also just dwells on like heavier topics of like depression or anxiety with meeting people,
Mhm.
and trying to get out of your comfort zone and be more active and more assertive with what you want, and going for it, going for what you want. So I highly recommend this anime. It does have some mature content in it, so I will give that warning out, because the story does take place when Tsukimi is 18, so she's living with five other women. So just a mature content, but you can read this manga on Overdrive. We have all the volumes on Overdrive, I believe.
Oh, that's cool. So
Yes.
I might actually do that.
Yeah. And we also have them in our collection, so you can check them out. And I highly recommend this manga. I kind of think it's underrated because I don't see too many things about it. It is kind of older, but it ended in 2017. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking like, yeah, like I had gone to an anime convention one year, and like if you go to anime conventions, a lot of cosplay is a popular anime, and I see Kuranosuke walk by me, and I'm like, and he's dressed in this like, we'll have a picture here. He's dressed in a jellyfish, like the jellyfish dress that won the fashion show, and I had to take a picture with this cosplayer, but it was just so awesome. Definitely check it out. That'd be my pick.
I haven't seen the picture, so I'm excited.
Yay!
Yeah, I like.
Up next are a couple of some Western animated series that I would like to talk about. First one is Steven Universe, which is a super popular animated series by Rebecca Sugar, and I unfortunately have not watched it. I need to
Me
watch
either.
it. I really need to watch it. But it's about a boy named Steven, and he is half human, half gem. And I think the gem is just, it's like an alien race that comes from outer space. And we actually have a really cool picture book about it. Um, I'll put a picture here of our picture book, as well as the title, so that you can check it out in our catalog. But there's a picture book of how Steven Universe started. And anyway, he makes friends with the gems, which are again part of like the alien race, and they just go on really cool adventures together, and they have powers related to gems. So there's ruby, pearl, sapphire, amethyst.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like amethyst.
yeah.
I mean, I like the stone. I don't know the show,
Is it
but
because it's purple?
yes, I love purple.
Knew it.
Yes.
I like sapphire 'cause it's blue.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just a really good show to go ahead and pick up on. As far as I've heard, personally, I haven't watched it, so I can't give you my watched opinion. But I thought it was still mentionable, still a show that was worthy of mention, for our episode.
I did see a clip because I was looking through LGBT plus representation
Hmm.
in cartoons. Steven Universe is one of them, and I don't know the names, but two of the girls got married. It was a really cute scene.
Yeah, maybe I think it was like Ruby. No, maybe it wasn't Ruby. Sorry, if you're a Steven Universe fan,
Yeah.
please feel free to
Let it.
correct us in any way. But
Yes.
I think I know what you're talking about because I think I've seen a clip of that too.
Mhm.
Um, the the genders in Steven Universe are like, they're not like black and white or anything like that. It's
It's not binary.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is awesome. I absolutely love it. I do need to watch it, so, and especially because it's by Rebecca Sugar, who will go into the next one.
Mhm.
She's also she created a lot of the storyboard characters for Adventure Time. So they go hand in hand a little bit, but basically Adventure Time is about a 12-year-old or 13-year-old boy named Finn the Human. Sorry, I was singing the theme song. Finn the Human, and he goes on adventures with his stretchy dog named Jake. But anyway, he kind of goes on adventures and deals with things that Princess Bubblegum, which is this like embodied pink princess, and she blows bubbles and she does a lot of bubblebee things. So that's why she's named that. But he goes on adventures with her and everything, and throughout the series, you get to see her and a couple other characters like Marceline, the Vampire Queen. And at first, they are enemies. Like, they don't like each other very much, and they kind of bicker a lot. But as the series progresses, they get closer and closer to each other. And eventually, towards the ending of Adventure Time, the creators finally close on their relationship, and so they're together at the very end. And that's just something
Hmm.
really cool to see. Because, like, they go from being enemies and not liking each other at all to finally starting to be friends and let some of, I guess, like old Ooh baggage go away. And Ooh is just like the world that they're in, so it's the land of Ooh, the
Oh,
world of
okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Adventure Time is really, I love Adventure Time because it's got some post-apocalyptic
Thanks.
like things. Yeah, like Finn the human is set in the land of Ooh, but uh, that world was like Earth, you know, a version of Earth. And as the series progresses, it kind of goes into that post-apocalyptic series, and so that's what really drew me in. But then, of course, they have all the cute characters in it too, and so it's just a good series to check out. I don't want to spoil too much, so just go watch it. We also have a graphic novel the same way as Steven Universe is, so we have that in our system to check out too. And then lastly is Star versus the Forces of Evil. I love that one because just it's again like really silly in terms of its humor.
Mhm.
So basically, Star is a princess in an alternate universe, and she holds magic. So she goes off on adventures with her best friend Marco, who's from Earth. And eventually, you find out that Marco had a crush on this other Earth girl. Her name is Jackie, and they go out and everything, but they end up breaking up because spoilers, you know, like Marco and Star are kind of like supposed to be together.
Okay.
um, best friend privileges. I don't know.
Yeah.
um, but they end up together as a couple, and then Jackie. It's revealed later that Jackie is with a girl named Chloe. And so then you see that like representation in this
Oh,
show, and
yeah.
it was awesome. Like, because you get to see a whole nother side of Jackie that you didn't think existed, because you just thought maybe she was like a cool skater girl, and then they show that, and you're like, oh, there's more to her than I thought that there was. So
Yeah.
it's a good show to watch. And the way they put that representation in there is so like breezy. They don't make a big show of it at all, and that's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I love when it's just like supernatural. um,
There's not a lot of bi characters and some like comics or media. I don't know,
yeah,
just some things that I've come across. Like I haven't like encountered much of bisexual characters, so
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and
that's
like
really refreshing,
yes,
I guess.
and Auron, Haruhi's dad is bisexual, but it's like the first time I've ever seen like a parent in a show or like an animated
Yeah.
series come out that way, you know, or say that. So like at that when I had first watched it and he had said it, it completely went over my head. You know, I was like, okay.
So accepting.
I was like, it's normal, like as it
Yeah.
should be, right? So
Yeah.
until you pointed it out, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah. So it is very refreshing. That's what I like too about Star versus the Force of Evil. So check it out. We don't have anything about Star versus the Forces of Evil, but it is on Disney Plus
Oh.
and HBO Max.
Disney Plus was like
Because
not where I think it
oh,
would
it's a
be.
show by Disney.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a show by Disney. So XD,
That's
Disney XD.
surprising. Okay.
Yeah. Um, so go check it out there.
That's cool. And continuing on from the Western animation, we are going to talk about The Legend of Korra
Woo!
because it's my favorite. It's a sequel to Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Mhm.
and Atla, I'm gonna call it Atla, is a super well written show, and it's phenomenal. I love it. You love it. Everyone
Yeah.
loves it. It's objectively really good, and it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. But I actually prefer The Legend of Korra because I just prefer it. I have my reasons.
You like what you like.
Yes, exactly. Because Korra is a really strong protagonist, and she goes through so much and still overcomes like all of her situations, and I love that about her. Um, but for those who aren't familiar with the Avatar series, um, in the universe of Avatar, people can bend elements, so water, earth, air, fire, um, and the Avatar could bend all four. Only the one Avatar. There's
Yeah.
only one in the world.
Yeah.
But it goes through each cycle. So if it goes in order. So Earth, for example, Kyoshi, Avatar Kyoshi was Earth. Then the next element is fire, which is Roku. After fire is air, which is Aang. And then after air is water, and that's Korra. Um, Avatar Aang was in the first series, and he was like, I'm not gonna go too much into that show, but he was a really young kid, and Atla was more of a kid series, whereas Legend of Korra is like, I think it was their target audience was more for like those who grew up
Who grew up
watching.
with it, yeah. Man, I remember in like 2011, I was on like a forum for Nickelodeon, and I'm like, I've got to see if because there's like rumors that there's gonna be another Avatar, and then Legend of Korra pops up in like this big billboard poster looking thing, and I was like, oh my god! I can't remember how old I was at the time. Irrelevant, but
Right.
I had looked at it and I was like, wow, it's coming. Like I loved the fact that in the billboard they had showed Korra, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a strong female protagonist this time, and I was like, yes, I'm ready.
And I did watch a little bit of Atla when I was younger, but um, because I can't really keep up with series when it airs, like I rewatched it on Netflix when it came out, and I watched it last year actually, so I'm watching it as an adult perspective, and then Legend of Korra came out August of last year, so I watched that too, and I think because I watched these series um, as an older person that I lean towards Korra more. So
Yeah,
I think that was one thing. that was one factor.
yeah.
So the Avatar is responsible for keeping balance in the world, and in the story of Korra, um, she and her friends face political and spiritual disorder in the modernized world. So in Atla, it was more. How would you describe that
In
era?
in Avatar, it was like it was more wartime.
Yeah, that is
Like
true.
the I'm sorry, I'm seeing the opening right now. The Fire Nation attacked.
Yes.
And only the Avatar, master of all. Okay. Anyway, the Fire Nation attacks. So there's like this giant war that goes on, and um all of the surrounding countries that kind of inhibit like an element. So like the Earth Kingdom, the Fire Kingdom, the Air Kingdom in that show is completely wiped out by the Fire Kingdom. So there's a lot of unrest and just like general discontentment because the Fire Kingdom is encroaching on other kingdoms. They're basically taking over other kingdoms and making them under their rule.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those themes in that in Avatar: The Last Airbender, whereas in Korra,
because like they had more peaceful time,
yeah,
so to speak. They have more technology and
yeah. So I guess spoiler, but if you haven't seen Avatar yet, please do because it's a great show. But towards the end, Avatar Aang defeats the Fire Lord, which then brings in an era of peace, and so it smooths into Korra.
Yes, and even with the era of peace, it comes with people still want to rise up and take over, as it goes more into the Legend of Korra goes more into like spirituality.
Hmm.
Oh, so does Avatar too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but we also learned about the very first Avatar in the Legend of Korra and how people got the power to bend elements.
Hmm.
So I think that was really cool to
Yeah.
learn about.
And in Korra, there's more. She spends way more time in the spirit world than I
Hmm.
think Avatar. I think Avatar. Aang does, but they don't really show that too much in the show. And
Yeah.
Korra, I remember seeing her frequently in the spirit world.
Yes. And I guess more spoiler, the comic starts right after the show
Oh,
ends, and I think it's mostly because Nickelodeon didn't want the creators to, um, because Korra and Asami are bisexual,
mhm.
and Nickelodeon was like, no, we can't do that. So the creators just made the comics, and I love that they continued the story.
Yeah.
Because at the end of Legend of Korra, um, I guess there were like little subtle hints throughout the show that they liked each other, but it was like super subtle. And then at the end, they go vacation to the spirit world, and before they enter the portal, they hold hands, and then it's like, ah!
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like a Sailor Moon where Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune were just cousins. But they weren't
cousins.
cousins. Like, we know
That
they
makes
weren't
it
cousins.
worse.
Yeah.
Don't say cousins.
So, I guess, like, part censorship with that. I didn't know that they continued the story in the comics,
Oh
so
yeah, they totally did.
I'm
So
excited.
they start off in their vacation in the spirit world,
Hmm.
and it just shows shows more of their relationship, and then later on, like they slowly come out to the family, and they're accepting, which is awesome. But
Yeah.
then like bad guys will like use Asami, like kidnap her or whatever, to get to Korra because she's the Avatar, and
You
it
must kidnap the Avatar. I
yeah.
will. I will gain my honor by capturing Avatar.
Yes. But yeah, so there are two trilogies. So the first one is Turf Wars, and the second one is Ruins of Empire. And I believe we have all of them. For some reason, I had to check out part two of one of the trilogies at another library system, but I think we have all. I think we have all the books. So,
Okay.
yeah, and you could. I think I mentioned this. You can watch Avatar, Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra on Netflix. So we are going to quickly go over our manga picks and our anime pick.
Mhm.
So my manga pick is Our Dreams at Dusk, which I have displayed right here. There are only 4 volumes, and I just really love this manga because it shows different characters or a diverse
Diverse crew.
community, yeah, of people from the
Hmm.
LGBT plus community, um, and it's about a teenage boy. He is afraid that he was outed as gay, and he's about to jump until he saw this woman jump first,
Hmm.
and he's like, oh no! And he runs over to see if she's okay, and she is. She magically flies somehow, but and he goes into the drop center because that's where um, I think that's where she jumped off, and the drop center is basically like a small group of people from the LGBT plus community, and
Okay.
they're like so accepting of each other, and you learn about each and every one of them,
Mhm.
which is really beautiful, and um, it also goes into like some topics of homophobia, internalized homophobia, um, coming out, and all of that. But overall, it's a beautiful story, and I totally recommend it.
Nice. All right. For my manga pick, I am going to be doing Wandering Sun. I actually haven't read this one. I didn't have time to, so I apologize. But it's supposed to be really good. It centers around a boy and a girl who become transgender over the course of their time, like getting to know each other. It's supposed to be really good. I heard a
Mm-hmm.
lot of good things about it.
Oh
We
yeah.
do have multiple volumes in our system, so you can check those out. Another manga pick would just be like adding on to my anime pick, or anime. It's just Auron High School Host Club. There's like 18 volumes. Again, we have them all in the system, so you can check them out. And then another one is this I Hear the Sunspot by Yuki Fumio. This one's supposed to be really good. I also haven't read all of it. I've gone through quite a bit, like half today, because it was so good. But it centers around two teens, two adults, and they meet each other by chance. But of course, there's like one of them is like introverted, the other one's extroverted. So you've got that like really cute different balance there.
Dynamic.
Yeah, that dynamic. Those are my manga picks.
And our anime pick is
Yuri on Ice.
I think you pronounced it right.
Yuri.
Yuri. Yes, it's such a beautiful anime, and there's no manga to it. It's just a studio created
an original like animation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's by Mappa.
Mhm.
Mappa is a good studio.
Mappa made Gojo. From Jujutsu Kaisen. If you haven't seen Jujutsu Kaisen, we do talk about it in our very first episode. Gojo Satoru. Satoru.
Mm-hmm.
He is very cool. I'll just leave it at that. But
yes.
Yuri on Ice. It is a sport/comedy anime.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't quite get into it when it first came out, because it came out in 2016.
Yeah.
And I didn't typically watch a lot of sport anime during that time. I would see it and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look like something I'm interested in. So I just completely disregarded it. But
it's so beautiful.
Yes.
And I just love it so much. Like the relationship between Victor and Yuri is, it was so natural, I guess.
Yeah.
And Victor is like a 5-time.
He's a 5-time like award-winning ice skater.
Yeah.
And from Russia, I believe, was his like country of origin. But
yes.
Yeah, it's a good one. It has a great animation. The way they animate the ice skating in general is just beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, especially for, I want to say like for its time, but it was like 5 years ago.
Back in my day.
Yes.
Just kidding. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's like, I love watching ice skating, like, in general, because I think it's just incredible what you can do on the ice. Like, it's just a great anime to watch, just for its story in general, too, because Yuri goes through some things of, like, self-doubt, and, you know, he isn't confident in himself at all at the beginning of the show. And I believe that as he trains more with Victor, because Victor, since he's the star pretty much, he goes over and flies over to Yuri and says, hey, I'm going to train you because I saw your video and I think you have potential.
Yeah.
So he just grows that confidence over time. And it's just one of those good like underdog animes to watch where you see a person and they just don't have so much confidence in themselves, and at the very end of the anime they're like shining on the ice. So definitely recommend.
Yes. I love it.
Yes.
So,
all right.
Yeah, so those are our picks, and I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Be sure to check out our book bundle, which again it's at the Atascocita Branch Library, and you can check it out with your library card. We'll have it here for you. So.
And pick up the craft too if you haven't.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you had fun listening to all of our anime picks and manga picks. We'll see you guys next time.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.